honorable mentions hosted by the person talking. That's me. I'm Rachel Jane Andelman, and I'm your host for today. Welcome to Honorable Mentions. We do this once a week. Hey, welcome. We do this once a week. I look at the chat on my phone so I can see you guys. That's why I have my phone open. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. I think half the country is experiencing severe weather warnings. So if you're, hopefully if this is a way for you to unwind or to distract yourself, please use it for that purpose. I would love for you guys to hang out and feel better about what's happening to you, or what's happening around you, or what's happening near you, what's happening far away from you, wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, whatever is happening. I hope you're doing okay. So today we're going to go over what happened this week in the internet. First, before we do anything else, I'm just going to say, get on in here on my Twitter so that people know that the show is started. The show started. Everyone needs to get on in here. Otherwise, there's no show, because otherwise there's no one watching. Brohamulet writes, hi, Twitter friend Wendy here, but if I leave, it's most likely to tend to my beloved children. I am so happy, Brohamulet, that you have children, that you love them, and that you are making them a priority. That makes you an excellent person, and thank you for tuning in the interim. Now we have at least one person watching. Now we're going to start this show. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're not watching, I feel bad for you, I still have faith one day you'll watch one day. Pfeiffer writes, the world may be on fire, but the weather in PA has been so mild. Give it up for Pennsylvania weather. Pennsylvania is, of course, the biggest state in the world, and I'm only saying that because you inevitably have to drive through it if you are from Boston and trying to go south. I have had to go south many times, and Pennsylvania basically feels like a giant. It feels like its own country. It's too big. It's a giant square that's just in the middle of where you need to be and where you are starting from. The Keystone State. That's true. I do have a huge affection for Pennsylvania, specifically for Philadelphia. As people may know, if you've talked to me for more than 30 seconds at a time, I will inevitably bring up my favorite internet story of all time, which is the Death of Hitchbot. That was a robot that was really sort of a rubber box that had hitchhiked continuously throughout Europe with no problems whatsoever. It came to America to start a new journey, and it was immediately mugged and strangled and left for dead in a dirty Philadelphia alley. I just think that story is so funny. If you've never seen the Hitchbot photos, let me see if I can bring them up on my stupid, tired, slow machine. They are perfect little photos. Hitchbot, the Death of Hitchbot. Here we go. Here's Hitchbot when he was alive. And here's Hitchbot dead. And that's the funniest thing to me that has ever happened. And I'm going to try to bring Hitchbot up once per show because I think it's good. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hello, TBK. Hello, Matt. And hello, Pfeiffer. Awesome. So this week, if you have not been on the internet, the show is for you. If you have been on the internet, the show is for you. The show is a review. As of the last 3 weeks, the show has been a review of the biggest internet moments of the week, as decided by me, based on the completely objective forces of me thinking about the last week on internet and on Twitter. So first, before we do the top 10, we're going to do the honorable mentions. Honorable mentions, these were moments that did not pierce the top 10. But they are stuff that I still think about. Sorry if I seem distracted. There is a weird buzzing to my left. I think it's the server. It's fine. Everything's fine. So the honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is, of course, J.K. Rowling, that huge bitch. Every time I'm being told I'm very tiny on your screen. I don't know if Matt can blow me up or make me so that I am handsomely visible, appealingly large. Why watch movies to see face huge? I believe that's a Mike Ginn tweet. Thank you very much, Matt. There we are. We are enhanced. Now you know who robbed the bank. First, we're going to talk about J.K. Rowling just for a single moment. J.K. Rowling is obviously a villain in the story of being alive. She makes every day worse. She needs attention, so she says something horrible and transphobic. The only reason I'm bringing her up is that every week I learn something weird and bad about the law based on sort of the stories that are like whipping my head around in a whiplash-like motion on the internet. And this week, I learned that if you, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, marital rape is considered a form of domestic violence. A woman cannot be charged with marital rape as it requires non-consensual penile penetration. So what am I learning this week? I'm learning that if you're a woman, right now, the law says if you're a woman in England, you can't rape in marriage. And that this is obviously a bad law, but it would be a law you might feel attached to if you're a woman who's a bad person. And this might be a law you might be attached to that you feel like trans women might be ruining the vibe if they also want to be recognized legally as women. So I didn't know this about the UK. I didn't know that in the UK you can't rape in marriage if you're a woman. But it does put a lot of like the transphobia in focus because I was like, why are they so transphobic? And I'm like, oh, if you're a woman and a bad person, you might benefit from some of the weird legal statutes in place and may not want them to change so that you are treated like a person capable of doing bad things. So that's something that I learned this week, and I wanted to share that with you because it made a lot of the weirdness. I know a lot of people are like, what's up with England? Like, why are they so transphobic? And I was like, well, you have to look at the legal precedent. And so that to me made that a little make a little bit more sense. TBK says, J.K. Rowling is my Joker origin story. I believe she's all our Joker origin stories. I believe we will all be Jokers at the end of this. This being defined as gestures broadly. So that's the J.K. Rowling moment we hate of the week. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk was in the news because he's Times Person of the Year. So he's Times Person of the Year, even though all he did was break up with Grimes and create cars that think the moon is a stop sign. But he also did something very funny, which I laughed at, and we're going to look at it right now. Oh, he also called Elizabeth Warren like Senator Karen because all he wants to do is be funny, but he can't. Elon Musk, the hair transplant story is very funny. So if you've ever seen a picture of Elon Musk, you know that he's had a hair transplant because he used to have less hair than he does now. I did not know until this week that hair transplants actually like leave scars that stay on your head unless you like get rid of them. And that if you get, for example, a buzz cut, you can see all of those scars. I did not know about any of that. Now, you may say, oh, Rachel, are you making fun of this person just for deciding to get a hair transplant? No, I'm making fun of them because they're Elon Musk, and he's gone to great pains to give himself more hair and then to also give himself a buzz cut, which feels very like elliptical. Like, why wouldn't you just go bald? Why wouldn't you just be the cool bald guy? But apparently he just wanted hair on the very tippity top of his head, which strikes me as very funny. Matt, thank you for, I hope you're enjoying moving to wherever you are. I don't know if you live in the US or where have you, but I hope you're enjoying your new destination. So yeah, these pictures just make me laugh and laugh. I just think it's so funny to be so vain but so elliptically, strangely vain that you're willing to go to these lengths, but not to lengths that, like what's happening here. I'm going to think about this particular haircut for a long time. So that's the Elon Musk moment of the week. Person of the year, Elon Musk. May we all die in his underground fire tunnels. But now we're going to get to the real top 10 of the week. Again, if you have not been on the internet this past week, none of this will make sense until I explain it. So aren't you glad I'm here to explain it for you? And number 10, we have Throat Goat. If you haven't seen the internet this week, you don't know what I'm talking about. But Throat Goat was this amazing moment where people were talking about Nancy Reagan giving head for about 48 hours uninterrupted on Twitter. You may be wondering, wait, why were they all talking about Nancy Reagan oral sex for 48 uninterrupted hours? Well, here's what happened. What happened is that there is an influencer, conservative one named Classically Abby. She is Abby Shapiro. She's a sister of Ben Shapiro. She is a classically trained opera singer, and she is a housewife. She's like a trad housewife influencer, and it's all very strange. But she put up a very weird post. Let me see if I can bring it up. Abby, Madonna, and Nancy Reagan. So, let's see if there's... yeah, so Abby Shapiro decided to hit the send tweet. Nancy Reagan is the Throat Goat. Let's see if we can get to the original tweet. It may be already very hard to find, but I'm happy. Let's see if this one is it. If you roll up. Here we go. First of all, it's insane to me that she hasn't deleted this. This created such a discourse that would seem to be counterintuitive to what she would have wanted to inspire, unless it was purely for attention. That it's extraordinary to me. I feel like anyone with any shame or any sense of propriety would have deleted this basically half an hour after posting it. But classically, Abby writes, "This is Madonna at 63. This is Nancy Reagan at 64. Trashy living versus classic living. Which version of yourself do you want to be?" Now, you may notice that this is a very sexy photo versus a very wholesome photo. She is obviously trying to slut shame Madonna and say what you really want to be is a woman surrounded by 8 other people you're related to in front of a foggy background on some grass. And that is what it means to be a real patriotic American. Now, what happened here is friend of the channel, Zach Heltzel. Zach Heltzel, by the way, has been on 2MB Studios. We are mutuals. I think he's very fun and funny. And I believe he is the one who started this. He posted this Village Voice column, which obviously has gotten a lot of attention. It's 52,000 likes. According to Kitty Kelly's biography, Nancy Reagan was renowned in Hollywood for performing Oh Ral SEX, Just Say Yes Nancy, in the days when she was Nancy Davis, was known to give the best you-know-what in town, not only in the evening, but in offices. That was one of the reasons that she was very popular on the MGM lot. It must have made her very popular with Ronnie as well. So apparently there are many different sort of minor celebrities of the era who actually back this up, because the next 48 hours, it was like chum in the effing water. People were making so many jokes about Nancy Reagan and her propensity to give people a fun time. She was called most famously, I think most prominently, her nickname was the Throat Goat. Goat obviously being greatest of all time. Also referred to alternatively as the Throatus, like POTUS, but for throat. So that was a pretty wild 48 hours. If you were on Twitter, I think it was like Wednesday night, to like Friday morning, this was all anybody was joking about. This was all anyone was talking about. Just about Nancy Reagan's throat game. Some people had to write. It got so bad that some people had to write tweets about how we needed to stop slut shaming Nancy Reagan, and people were like, "Well, that's not really what we're doing," or like, "We're not really celebrating her." Other people were like, "Just remember, she was, instrumental in the AIDS tragedy, in the government's inaction towards the AIDS crisis. So you don't want to unironically celebrate her. You can only ironically celebrate her because otherwise it's too much." So a lot of people sort of doing that kind of cautionary tweets in response to just the whole. It was a throat rush. The last couple days of last week, a real throat rush. People are rushing in, mining, trying to get those gold nuggets of tweets and comments in there. Everyone was talking about Nancy Reagan. And it all started from this one tweet by Classically Abby, which, if you look at it, 8,000 likes is not even that much for a tweet. But the discourse that this sparked, like a tiny flame in a huge canyon, and the next thing you know, the whole village is down. That's the optimize my PC support from a support assist. Not in the mood to improve my PC right now, although maybe later. Throtus is a very funny. I agree with you, Matt. Throtus is a very funny nickname that I enjoyed a lot. But again, Zach Helsel started this. One of the top tweeters in the game. Love to have him on the channel. Love to have him in my mentions. Follow that man. He's very funny and he knows his shit. So that was number 10 of the week, Throat Goat. That was the number 10 internet phenomenon of the week. Everyone talking about Nancy Reagan. Now we're up to number 9. Number 9, we're up to Jorts the cat. Jorts the cat. This Jorts fellow has come into real prominence in the last, I would say, day and a half. A lot of people talking about Jorts. If you have not been on Twitter or Reddit, you may be wondering to yourself, who are we talking about? I thought Jorts was a type of jean shorts. I believe that's what this was. So basically, we're going to find out what Jorts is. We're going to do a Jorts. Am I the asshole? Classic Reddit subreddit. And it pops right up. I love these Twitter accounts that are just mining the best material from subreddit so that you can enjoy Reddit without having to be on Reddit, which I think in this day and age is so important. Who wants to be on Reddit? You just want to read what's from Reddit without necessarily being on the website. So basically, if you read this, and I can summarize this from you because I read it last night, there are 2 cats in this workplace. There's a smart one named Jean, and there's a dumb one named Jorts. And the the Jorts is, as they say in the original post, he's a kind of simple guy. Jorts can't open a door. He shuts it whenever he's going in or out. So if he closes the door, he's trying to go through. That means he's often trapped inside the place he was trying to exit and meows until he's rescued. Now, what becomes the linchpin of the story is the colleague of the post writer named Pam, who decides that she's going to train Jorts to become smarter so he's not trapping himself in closets, including as well as helping him improve his grooming habits. And the way that colleague Pam decides to do that is to cover him with margarine, like butter, so that he will practice licking himself. Now, apparently, what it comes down to is the colleague Pam gets very upset when the original letter writer, the original post writer says, "Listen, Pam, we can't expect everyone to be smart like Jean. Jean's a tortoiseshell, and Jorts is just an orange cat." So they're like, "Here we go. You can't expect Jean's tortoiseshell smarts from Orange Cat Jorts, which made Pam furious, and she started crying and left the hallway, then sent an email to the group. In the email, she said, "I was perpetuating ethnic stereotypes by saying orange cats are dumb and demanding a racial sensitivity training before she'll return." So, Am I the Asshole asks, "Am I the asshole for perpetuating ethnic stereotypes about jorts?" This letter, and here's a picture of jorts, and here's a picture of Jean the tortoiseshell cat, who managed to not lock himself in the closet as much, if at all. So, what do we have here? We have a very funny "Am I the Asshole" post that may or may not be real. Many people, or at least several people, have claimed that this is a clear fake. This is a clear work of fiction, but I think we all like to enjoy the fantasy, at least briefly, that there is a real Pam who got real mad when someone said that orange cats are dumb. There was apparently a follow-up post saying that HR was annoyed at Pam for bringing up racial sensitivity in terms of cats. Obviously, cats don't know what race is, and they can't be offended, especially in terms of claims toward their intelligence. They don't understand what's happening. So there is a follow-up here. So lots of jorts action here. People love cats. People love joking about how cats are dumb. Apparently there's a post from "Your fave is a himbo. Every male orange cat from real life is a himbo. The best part about this post is everyone tagging their own dumb orange cats who can't even defend themselves online." I didn't know that this was a thing, that orange cats are dumb, but apparently it is, and apparently people really enjoy references to it. So if you see the word jorts online and a cat, and maybe some sort of derogatory statement about his intelligence, that all stems from this original "Am I the Asshole" post posted. It was posted on Twitter on December 14th, and it was posted on Reddit, we're about to find out, 2 days ago, and already marked as "Not the Asshole," and "Not the Asshole" there. So that is our number 9 story of the week, George the cat and the woman who decided to butter him because he wasn't grooming himself and she thought she could teach him. That is our number 9 story of the week. Number 8 story of the week is the Aaron Sorkin letter. The Aaron Sorkin letter. Again, if you're enjoying this content, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to buy our merch. We have all of the links to support the channel in the About page of our Twitch channel, so feel free to avail yourselves of the many ways to say thanks for this content. But we're going to do the Aaron Sorkin letter just for 1 second. We're going to kind of just find that out right now. And now you may be wondering, I've heard of Aaron Sorkin, but what's the deal with Aaron Sorkin, and why are we talking to him about right now? Why are we talking about him? Is it about his new movie? He does have a new movie about Lucy and Lucy Ricardo, Lucille Ball out. Is this about that? It is not about that. So basically, last week we talked about the fact that Jeremy Strong had an interview, a profile written about him in the New Yorker. Jeremy Strong, one of the stars of the TV show Succession, which just had its season finale this Sunday. Apparently he comes off as very committed as an actor, a bit method, a bit unusual. Not really a hit job, but some people took it as one. So the Aaron Sorkin letter is all about how the Michael Schumann's profile is apparently, one-sided, and just kind of defending his friend Jeremy Strong. Aaron Sorkin and Jeremy Strong did work together on that Trial of the Chicago 7 movie on Netflix, which I have not seen. I don't even have a Netflix subscription anymore, so I can't even go back and see it. But what's interesting about the Sorkin letter is people basically online don't really love Sorkin. He's considered a bit of a fuss budget. He's considered a bit of a man a little bit too enamored of himself, a man who's had some success in Hollywood and who now is sort of popularly considered to be a little bit on the insufferable side. So there was a day or two where people were posting this almost like a joke format, where they would say, Aaron Sorkin doesn't have social media, so he asked me to post this. And then in lieu of the real letter about Jeremy Strong, they would post, for example, like a funny post-it note, or like a picture of like an illustrated boobs, sort of a note about maybe a video game reference. Various like funny notes and various messages were attached to this the parody or repetition of this opening line in parody as a way to make fun of this letter and of the compunction of famous people in general to feel like they are under attack and to feel like they need to protect and support and defend each other. It has been often brought up that the profile is not that bad. At worst, he's a bit unusual or a bit intense, but people feel like because some internet posters were making light fun or lightly teasing Jeremy Strong, that they had to come out in force. So Jessica Chastain has defended him. Aaron Sorkin is defending him. I believe Anne Hathaway has defended him from this profile, which is really not that bad. But the entire point is that this story would have definitely gone away by last week, except for these people who just decide that they need to defend him and therefore lengthen the time we spend talking about him. And that's been a lot of the discourse this week, has just been making fun of the celebrities who feel the need to support other celebrities, even if they are not actually being attacked. And that's been sort of the vibe there. So this leads really into, that's the number 8 thing on the internet this week. That leads us very promptly, very smoothly into number 7 of this week. Our number 7 internet trend this week has been Shiv's ass. Shiv's ass has been a great focal point of discussion this week. If you do not watch Succession or do not know what Succession is, Succession is a show. Succession is a show about rich people with a rich father, and they're all trying to take over the company. And that basically is it. There's more to it than that, obviously, but that's basically the gist. You have Brian Cox as the patriarch. He's Logan Roy. You have Jeremy Strong as Kendall Roy. You have Kieran Culkin as Roman Roy. You have Sarah Snook as Siobhan Roy. Then you have the guy from Ferris Bueller as Connor Roy. And then you have, of course, Cousin Greg and Tom Wamsgone. And I believe those are the major players. But what was so funny is how everyone has decided that one of the most memeable aspects of the show, which seems to be mostly sort of a chamber drama / comedy, where rich people who are monsters like hiss at each other, as well as, make themselves into spectacles. The real hero of the show may or may not be, depending on who you talk to, Shiv's ass. So Shiv is the one daughter in the show Succession, who's also trying to become, a player in the company of the Roy empire, their media empire. So you have a lot of people posting screenshots of Siobhan's ass and saying the real hero, the real star of the show is Siobhan's ass, because sometimes she often wears like skin tight pants or skin tight skirts, and that causes the ass to be the focal point often of the screenshot or of the frame. And so you have just, if you Google or if you search in the Twitter search engine Siobhan's ass, you just get a lot of people talking about Shiv's ass. You get people making this fun Photoshop person of the year, Shiv's ass, 23,000 likes, a pretty good number on a picture of a butt. Now, now people may say it's already been brought up that is Shiv's ass even that amazing? People have been brought up the idea that the whole phenomenon of the Shiv ass discourse is really a reflection of mediocre white female privilege, and that Shiv's ass is not that slamming, and therefore all of the people turning into horny hot dogs about it therefore are just sort of working themselves into a lather over a fundamentally mediocre product. Unlike Succession, which I think everyone is basically of the opinion it's like one of the best shows out there right now, there's a lot of discussion about whether Shiv's ass truly brings enough to the table to justify the reaction that people are having to it. I am so, what's the word, ambivalent. I think the ass is fine. It's very funny that people have created this whole discourse around this one actress's butt in this one show and talking about whether it deserves the amount of attention it gets. I think there's something about watching a show like Succession very closely where anything that sticks out sort of almost becomes by necessity a point of obsession because of the close watch everyone is doing for this show, and also the need to sort of have a discussion about the show that isn't necessarily tied to intricate plot points whereby people who don't watch the show are left out, or people who don't watch the show don't know what you're talking about. I feel like Shiv's ass was a consensus agreement. They're like, we don't know necessarily what you're talking about. From certain people, I don't know, people who watch Succession always know what's happening in Succession. They're like, I know that these two characters are mad at each other, but I don't know what's going on in terms of the structure of the business, or what's happening in terms of the deal they're making. I don't really know how to parse it. I don't know the words they're using. I'm not a businessman. I don't know what's happening in this scene. I just know that this character looks sad. I feel like a lot of people, I have seen people basically admit that they don't know what's happening on a structural level in the show Succession. Therefore, what is better, what is a more cleansing moment than simply saying, hey, this one character has a butt? And that's what I think has made this discourse so flamingly popular. Just the sense of like comfort in knowing that there is something going on in the show that we all can agree is happening. So that is Shiv's ass. Shiv's ass is number 7 on the list of internet phenomenon this week. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you like the show, again, feel free to say hi in the comments. If you hate the show, feel free to tell me off in the comments. I have a very thick skin. I'm just going to say still alive, hang out, still alive, stop by and say hi. There we go. So we're 7 down. We've got a few more to go. Here we go. Number 6 is the Licorice Pizza Discourse. Licorice Pizza is the new film by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's a story about a boy played by Philip Seymour's son falling in love with one of the women from Haydn. This movie has been under a certain amount of scrutiny. First, for the fact of the age difference between the characters. One, I believe, is canonically 15, while the other is, again, canonically 25. So there is an age discourse, and there is also a racism discourse, because apparently one of the characters in the movie is very racist toward his Asian wife. And the question is the movie racist, or is the character racist? And another question is, how do we even have a discourse about this film, which most people still haven't seen yet? But what really got people energized was the Arnita Sarkeesian post. About Licorice Pizza. Everyone got really mad about this post. Here's how the post goes. After you watch Licorice Pizza, please have a conversation with your friends about how just showing racism isn't a critique of racism. It is actually doing racism. Here are some talking points. So people got very upset about this original post and the follow-up thread, basically saying that this is a baby-brained way of watching film, of experiencing art, that people who are racist as characters inside of movies don't always need to be hit with giant comments to show that we, the audience, or we, the filmmakers, disagree with them. We do not necessarily need, a worksheet to talk through the racism in the movie and how the racism is bad. So this has been a thread which got a lot of attention because people were basically like, this is not how this is not how we talk about movies anymore, or this is a very 2012 way of talking about movies, or just like Anita Sarkeesian, this is not what we do anymore. So people are really mad about the thread. I've seen a lot of people regard the thread and about how the way that we talk about movies has become very simplified and become very immature. Whether or not I've also seen people point out who have seen the movie that the parts in the movie where there is racism don't work. But that is a conversation that requires more nuance than a lot of these. The film is either racist, the film is either doing racism or it's not doing racism. And there's just a lot of discourse. I feel like Licorice Pizza, considering how few theaters it's still open in. How many theaters is Licorice Pizza in right now? Licorice Pizza theaters right now. I don't know how to get the count of how many theaters it's in right now. I used to use Box Office Mojo, but I don't think they have that information anymore. Let me see. See how many. Let's see if they have it, because I used to use Box Office Mojo all the time. So far it's made just over $1 million in the United States, and it's not open in any other countries, so it's just over $1 million. Oh, it's only open in 4 theaters. It's been released for 2 weeks. Widest release has been in 4 theaters, so it's a slow rollout. I don't know what the maximum number of theaters it's going to open in. I think it obviously depends on how successful it is in theaters. But you can get into the really nitty gritty of this. I used to follow this stuff. I used to follow this stuff all the time. I used to be very into box office numbers before I realized that it doesn't matter, that none of this matters, that movies are made and we should just be thankful, or we should be thankful for them, or we can ignore them. But it's very funny that a film that no one has seen, because it's not open anywhere, is garnering this much discourse already. And the big question for me is whether Licorice Pizza will continue generating new discourse as more people see it and have feelings about the age gap and the scenes where one character is racist toward another. Whether we'll just start having this conversation over and over again as more and more and more people end up seeing it. Because right now, I feel like we are at what often feels like peak discourse for a film, again, that is purely, for most people, the hypothetical. I will say for myself that I tend to love Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I've loved almost all the Paul Thomas Anderson movies I've ever seen. Obviously, The Master is great. I love Inherent Vice. I love Magnolia. I love Punch Drunk Love. I could keep going. But there's Phantom Thread is a great movie. So I don't think I've ever seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie I disliked. It's just whether he's able to handle this particular kind of material in a way that feels ultimately satisfying or ultimately successful. And I think that I don't see any reason for him to not be able to handle the central couple. I don't know if I've ever seen him handle racism in his films at all. I think there's like a Asian sex worker in Inherent Vice, and I was really struggling. Oh, I guess there are some minor black characters in Magnolia, so one other movie. But I don't feel like he's ever particularly handled race like straight on, and therefore I'm curious to see how he handles it in this movie. But there's no necessarily precedent in his work. But again, I'm also curious about whether we're just going to continually talk about this film for the next 6 months as it slowly makes its way into being a film people can actually see or not. But Pfeiffer says, getting some folks together Sunday to rent a theater for the latest Marvel slop. Love the movies. Yeah, we're not even talking about Spider-Man. Everyone's excited for Spider-Man. I don't care. I don't care. It was funny. What was that movie where Michael Douglas plays like an author? I was trying to remember it. Because I saw, there's Robert Downey Jr. There's Robert Downey Jr. and there is also Tobey Maguire. Oh, the Wonder Boys. Someone made a joke where they had a screenshot of like, I think it's Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire are in bed because they are like gay lovers and Wonder Boys, and they're like, oh my god, I'm so excited for the scene in this Spider-Man movie. And my first thought was like, I'm so excited to rewatch Wonder Boys because I haven't seen that in like 10 years, and I just got really excited to watch Wonder Boys. I was like much more excited to watch Wonder Boys in that moment than I've been to see any of the new Spider-Man movies. So that feels like a statement about myself. Thank you, Brony Care Bear, for helping me remember Wonder Boys. Wonder Boys, I remember it was really good, and I think I'll probably get more out of it now that I'm no longer in high school. I think now I'm at that like chill, like been an adult for a while phase where like certain films that are about how sad and lonely it is to be an adult will probably like hit super harder now that I've actually experienced adulthood, because I used to watch a lot of films like when I was like a teenager where I'm like I just simply did not have the experience to not necessarily understand where the filmmaker was coming from. But now I'm like, I'm ready to see Wonder Boys. I'm ready to see, Michael Clayton. I'm all here about the nuance and gray morality of the world. I'm no longer a child. I'm ready for those harsh truth movies. But we do have a related item to Spider-Man. Number 5 is Short Kings. Short Kings. Short Kings is what you call a man who's short when you want to compliment him. He's not just a short man, he's a short king. And the reason this has been, to me, a major internet moment is because, of course, there is no greater example of a short king than the guy who plays Spider-Man, who is Mr. Zendaya, Tom Holland. They are having a lot of press about them because of Spider-Man No Way Home, and a lot of pictures of them on the red carpet as there's a grand premiere. As you can see, them being on the red carpet was so iconic that people are now drawing fan art of them. This is actually really cute fan art. This is a really great picture. But people love these pictures of them. Zendaya looking stunning as usual in her Spider-Man dress, and Tom Holland is looking like he can't believe he's here. He can't imagine his good luck. So there's just a lot of photos people are posting of this cute celebrity couple and the fact that he's shorter than her. People say, do you think you're better than Zendaya? Why would you ever think you're better than Zendaya? And if Zendaya can get with a short king, then why can't you? That's basically a tweet I saw verbatim. Short kings all the way. Tom Holland is an iconic short king. That's why I'm sure it's helpful. I'm sure it's helpful to be short when you're playing a high schooler in your mid to late 20s, and Tom Holland is no exception. If you are interested in seeing pictures or videos of these people together, you can basically get, as I'm displaying right now, I'm demonstrating that there's basically an unlimited amount of media of these two people together, and it's all for you. Like, you get a Zendaya and Tom Holland photo, you get a Zendaya and Tom Holland photo forever and ever. They never stop taking photos of these people, and they're all for you, and isn't that wonderful? Pfeiffer writes Vegeta. I believe Pfeiffer's writing Vegeta as an example of another short king that one can stand. I agree. No one's better than another short king, and who's a better short king than Vegeta? I do think also Vegeta's like a literal prince, so that's pretty fun. So that is number 5 of the night. That's short kings. Then we're up to Bitcoin socks. This was like a real weird moment in internet land this week, watching Bitcoin sock lady. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm about to explain it. If I can find the video. Here we go. So this woman, I guess her name is Molly Spears, is showing us that she has these socks that can be scanned for Bitcoin, and you can use them to buy goods and services. And this went, people were making a lot of fun of this, and it just struck me as a really striking moment in the internet culture. First of all, I make a lot of fun about Bitcoin and crypto and NFTs on my Twitter account. I think that's really funny. I think it's very obviously a scam. It's very funny to watch people try to justify cryptocurrencies using it and how it's supposedly good because it's decentralized, or it's supposedly good because you can get in on the ground floor. But what I love about this video is that this is a video posted to show how cool Bitcoin is, and just every moment of it just strikes me as bizarre and nightmarish. There's a lot to unpack about this video if you watch it for more than 2 seconds. I've obviously watched it 5 times in the time I've been talking. The thing I can't get over is that she takes off both her shoes, I guess to show both the socks, the idea that you could use either foot to pay with. As long as you're wearing one sock, you can pay with Bitcoin. But she takes out both socks, even though she's only paying with one foot. So already I'm like thrown. The second part is, of course, the fact that she has to be carried over the threshold to make her purchase, which to me is so strange. Like, you're trying to show this like fun, quirky thing you're doing, but the entire performance of it seems incredibly labor intensive. So already I'm like, you have both your shoes off and you need a man. This seems like too much work. Then you have the fact that apparently this proprietor of whatever good she is trying to purchase has to apparently touch her foot, like not merely a scan. it's unclear from watching it without video whether he needs to touch her foot or if he just wants to touch her foot. To me, that opens up a lot of questions. I assume he has to touch her foot, or else why the hell would it be in the video? But then you're saying that a man has to touch your foot for you to make your purchase, and then you get the scan at the end, which is the only part of this whole debauched scenario that doesn't make one want to die. And eventually, she does apparently order her what looks like ice cream from a cup. It looks like the cop version of the United States flag, like the black and white one. So again, the more questions we ask, the more questions we produce. But it's from a creperie, and I think she's trying to show that Bitcoin can be fun and silly, and isn't it kind of interesting, and isn't it kind of appealing? And all you can do is break down the video moment by moment, like you're watching the Zapruder film. And I do feel like I'm watching the Zapruder film when I watch the Bitcoin video. Do her shoes have a security lock? That's a great question, Brony Care Bear. But this video is not to answer your questions. It's only to give you questions. And I have about 100 million while watching this. For example, is the man who carries her over the threshold her brother, a romantic partner, a friend, or simply someone she has hired using Bitcoin to help her pay with Bitcoin? Again, the questions you can ask regarding this video are legion, and I could spend easily an hour and a half just breaking down the video again and again, like, again, an Oliver Stone protagonist. But we're going to move on, but I have so many questions that will never be answered by that video. Related to the Bitcoin sock woman is the Keanu's giggle. As Pfeiffer mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about how Keanu had a little giggle. And we're not going to necessarily hear the giggle on this stream because I don't feel like my computer does a great job showing the videos, including the sound. But basically, here he's being asked about NFTs, and he's like, oh, you mean those things that you buy even though they're endlessly reproducible? And then he has like a tee-hee giggle, like he just loses it on the sofa next to Carrie Ann Moss. And everyone's saying, oh, based Keanu, amazing Keanu, the king Keanu. Everyone who's into Bitcoin and into crypto and into NFTs is like, Keanu, how could you do this to us? How could you betray your crypto bro fan base? People said that it is unusual for Keanu Reeves to say anything negative in interviews. Therefore, this strikes one as particularly significant in terms of his easy dismissal of NFTs as a concept. People say that even though he's not being mean in the clip, it feels like he's being mean because he's usually so nice. When you turn off the sound, you really do also get to enjoy Carrie Ann Moss's wary, amused look as he like loses his shit over this man trying to convince him of the value of NFTs. If you look at that, like that little askance glance, is a lot of fun. This has 8.3 million views. This 15-second clip of Keanu just saying NFTs, those things that are endlessly reproducible. And just losing it. So yeah, this was a great moment. I believe, to my knowledge, Keanu Reeves is the only sort of celebrity who's like made fun of NFTs in a way that's captured any attention. There have been many celebrities who jumped on the NFT train. Celebrities releasing NFTs, as a brand is very popular right now. You see that from Paris Hilton. You see that from Tom Colicchio from Top Chef. You see that from Reese Witherspoon. There's a whole bunch of NFTs that are branded by celebrities. Jimmy Fallon is another guy who's into NFTs. Some people think that the celebrities getting on it to make some quick cash. That they're just trying to kind of get in and out of there real fast before the market explodes or whatever happens when people realize that something is bad. But to me, Keanu is the only celebrity that I know of who's like gone on the record to be like, this is pretty silly, you guys. So you have to give it up for him. Like you have to hand it to him, as they say. But Pfeiffer says, I think I'll stick to tapping my cell phone. I've got ugly feet. Here's the thing. Everyone's foot is ugly when you put it across a cash register. You can have the most beautiful feet in the world, but if you're on my counter, if you're trying to buy gelato and you have your foot on my counter, your foot is the most ugly thing in my world at that moment because it's so out of place. It doesn't need to be there. And therefore, it is ugly in its quality of sticking out and getting my attention in a negative way. Because that's what I think of as ugliness. Something that attracts the eye, but also repulses the soul. And therefore, anyone paying with Bitcoin with their foot has, therefore, feet that are ugly. And that's number 3 is Keanu's giggle. Matrix. When is this movie coming out? Let's plug the Matrix coming out. Matrix 4. Is it Matrix 4? Release date. Its release day is original release day December 22nd, 2021. Again, everyone loves Wachowski sisters. Go and see The Matrix 4 as safely as you can. Get boosted, wear a mask, and go see The Matrix 4 coming out in a couple of weeks, or however many weeks it is from December 22nd. So that's the number 3 thing. Number 2 thing is the Snow Miser, Heat Miser TikTok trend. Not everything is a Twitter trend. Sometimes I do like to go on TikTok, and therefore the Heat Miser, Snow Miser song is a huge trend on TikTok right now. It is arguably the biggest trend I've seen on TikTok. I will. If you haven't heard the song, if you're on TikTok, you will hear the song on almost every other video. It's a song from the Claymation special. It's an explanation of who the Snow Miser is, and then later there's an explanation of who the Heat Miser is. And what people do is they do the makeup challenge, where half your face is cold, half your face is hot, and this is the Heat Miser, Snow Miser challenge, and you see it all over the place. So, Heat Miser, Snow Miser TikTok. And to me, I see a lot of people with variations of the heat and snow sides of their face. To me, I enjoy people putting on makeup. I think it's like a fun little thing. I think it's pretty wholesome and pretty not corrosive to my sense of sanity compared to other trends. People just singing along this funny little song. You get the cold side, you get the hot side. Bing bang, you're done. Funny little trend. And Bernie Care Bear says, I'll wait for the cake version. To me, it was just striking in how ubiquitous it is and how everyone loves doing their makeup and everyone seems to be really on the ball for this particular trend. And if you're ever like, I really wish there was a trend where people did half their face one way and half their face another way, this trend is for you. Now, is it a particularly intellectual trend? Of course not. It's just a fun little mindless kind of jokey kind of thing. But if that's what you're into, then that's what TikTok has for you. So that is number 2 on the internet things of the week. I want to talk about the honorable mention of What a Wonderful World. If you are like me, there's a particular TikTok that is a woman who is slowly building up herself singing A Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong by releasing videos that are just the syllables, the individual consonants. So she'll say, this is my cover of What a Wonderful World, just the T's. And so you just watch her go, t, t. And so she's slowly building up these duets where eventually theoretically she'll sing the whole song when she'll sing every word in the song. She hasn't gotten to the vowels yet. I'm very excited for her to get to the vowels. Number one of the week. Pfeiffer says, I had to watch a decluttering video while I put together a new coffee table. The number one thing of the week for me, the fucked up Kirby. What is the Kirby? The fucked up Kirby. This was just a little fun thing that I liked. This was a little fun thing I saw on the internet that I liked, that I don't even think it was posted this year. But sometimes you just have to give it up for a post that was from a while ago. Let me see if I can find it. It's nowhere to be found now that I need it, now that we're wrapping the show up. Where is it? Where is the Kirby? Let me find it. There was... Okay. Guys, I was doing so well finding the posts so fast, and now here it is. So this is from 2018, but I just saw it today, and I'm like, this has to be my number one, because this is so beautifully deranged. Sometimes you see a post, and you're like, I don't care what anyone else is talking or thinking about. This is the post that's made my week, and I hope that it makes yours. It goes, every time I come home, I have to look at this Kirby from hell I made in elementary school that my mom now hangs aprons on, and it's the most most grotesque thing I've ever seen. The eyes are bulging out. The mouth is a horror. The mouth has like a lower hanging lip, sort of just drooping, completely unmoored from the structure of its face. Horrible little stubbed arms and legs. Even no charm of the original Kirby in sight. Just a horrible little monster that his mom sort of insists on keeping for nostalgic value. You can see this follow-up post about how Kirby helps to hold the aprons in place. Pfeiffer says it looks more like Seaman. I don't know who that is, but I believe you. Multiple shots of the apron Kirby. Again, what I love about it is it doesn't even seem like a particularly effective way of hanging your aprons. This is just like a little monster that this person's mom has kept in her kitchen because once her son was a child. And so for me, this is number one this week. I don't care when it was posted. I don't care how many likes it got. I just care that it made me smile because I think that this is just real good stuff. This is a real good Kirby, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to have seen this on the internet. And that's what you really are always looking for on the internet when you're there, just opportunities to say, hey, this made this time on the internet okay. This justified me spending this time right here. Brony Care is asking Ben Affleck. And I don't know if Brony Care is saying that he thinks the Kirby looks like Ben Affleck, or if they're asking me to talk about Ben Affleck. I know Ben Affleck was prominent on the internet today, talking about his marriage, about how he was drinking because he was unhappy in his marriage. But that is not for this week. To me, that is for next week, if at all. I'm happy to talk about Ben Affleck for next week. Basically, there's this conversation about whether he's saying he's blaming his unhappy marriage on his drinking, and whether that implicitly blames Jennifer Garner on his drinking. Or blames his drinking, rather, on... Jennifer Garner is not a result of his drinking. His drinking may or may not have been a result of Jennifer Garner. So basically, I think it seems that what happened is that people took a quote from his interview sort of out of context to make him sound like worse than he was, which is pretty typical for the celebrity interview circuit. For me, I'm like, if I'm in an unhappy marriage, maybe I would drink. Like, I don't think that's necessarily saying anything bad about Jennifer Garner, to whom I'm also married in this scenario. I think if anyone's in a bad marriage with Jennifer Garner, I think that might lead to drinking if you are predisposed to drinking. I don't think that says anything bad about Jennifer Garner. Only that in this scenario, everyone happens to be married to her for reasons that are arbitrary and fanciful. But to that end, we're going to wrap up now because we are through. We went through the whole 10. These were the 10 of the week, guys. I erased them as I went, so I can't show you what they were. You'll just have to remember them or watch the tape back. I don't know why I deleted them as I was going along. I guess it felt right at the time. We're going to just replace those right now. So yeah, let's replace all those. Yeah, I'm very like fidgety with my listicles, and therefore I'll just delete them even though I want to go back to them. But all that said, the top 10, we got Nancy Reagan's The Throat Goat, George the Cat has butter on him, Aaron Sorkin is defending Jeremy Strong, Shiv has an ass that may or may not be any good, Licorice Pizza contains intuitions of racism and age discourse. The Short Kings are back. Thank you, Zendaya. Bitcoin is in the socks now. Keanu laughs at NFTs. Everyone's drawing on their face thanks to TikTok. And that Kirby was messed up. So that's been the week in the internet. Other things happened, but I don't care. For the purposes of this show, I don't care anything about anything that I didn't talk about, so you can assume safely that I didn't care about it if it happened and I didn't talk about it. Therefore, these are the only things that happened this week, according to me. This has been Honorable Mentions. Every week we will do a roundup of the internet in review. If you haven't been on the internet, you can learn what's going on. If you have been on the internet, you can make fun of the things together. I've been Rachel Andelman. I've been your host. I've been so happy that you guys have hung out with me tonight. I'll see you all next week. Otherwise, catch me on Twitter, where I will be until the heat death of the universe, which I believe is scheduled in a week and a half. So we do one more show, and then the heat death of the universe, and then we're all free. Thank you, Pfeiffer. Thank you, Kit. Thank you, BronyCare. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'll see you next week. Good night, good luck, and good posting.